Okay, it is 6:08. We're gonna get started. A couple of minutes late because of some technical issues, but I'm officially calling the meeting to order. Is there any public input?
There is not.
Okay. Did everyone get a chance to see the meeting minutes from the 23rd?
Yes.
Go for it.
How about item 5, second sentence? I think it's city, not Cody. Or Cody. Item 5, second sentence, Daleen. That the
Got it.
sidewalk.
Got it.
And then I think in section 8, when we talked about the greens, the trees on the green, the elms. I think third sentence up from the end of paragraph C. The leaves are still not leafed out, so would make it easy to see how the trees were, pruned, as opposed to they didn't leaf out because they were pruned incorrectly. You can make a sentence out of that, I'm sure.
I'll figure it out.
Right,
Thank-
it just reads like they didn't leaf out because of the pruning. That's not the case. It's just that they didn't leaf out, so you could still see the way they were pruned earlier. As an example.
And item number 1, Vice Chair Whitehead.
That's not your new name?
Otherwise, motion to approve.
Okay, yes, with those changes, motion to approve.
Second,
All right, so they are officially approved. Paul, do you want to go around the room where you are?
Yes, just to introduce everybody.
Yes, please.
This is Vanessa Valadero. She's the Chief of Operations and Public Works.
Good evening, everyone.
Hi,
hello.
Vanessa.
Chris Torrey,
Hey, Chris.
Hello.
Jay McLeod,
Hi.
Again.
Sarah.
And Sarah, perfect. Thank you. To everyone who, not that we're like, the most watched meeting online or anything, but anybody watching might not be able to see who everyone is. Even if they recognize the people, you guys are kind of far away from the camera. Okay, so Chris, you are up for item number 4.
All right. Well, thank you for having me. It's been a minute since I've been here. I feel like Candyman. If you say my name 5 times, I'll show up to your next meeting.
Tory.
There's a few changes that I think would do the committee well and the city well, and that would be appointing Sarah Cruz as the new liaison to the Tree Advisory Committee. That doesn't mean that Paul's not going to be on the committee. He's just going to do more engineering work than tree work. And that's the driver. Sarah is well versed. She's a lot more knowledgeable about trees than I am, and I think she would fit in well with Peter and Erica and Rich and Gay. So I guess under the ordinance, I'm the only one who can make that change. So I feel very lucky that I can do that.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great idea. We've been working with Sarah over the last several weeks. It's been a really positive experience. It was actually really nice to get to meet each other in person at the Earth Day Festival. It's always so different seeing people like, just online. And so that was a really good day for all of us also. So congratulations, Sarah.
Thank you, Trish.
So just for the record, Vanessa Valadares, Chief of Operations and Public Works. So I appreciate everyone for understanding the change that we're doing. As you guys know, Sarah has been attending already the meetings since pretty much December when she was hired. The city is very happy that we were able to engage an arborist into our staff. And the idea is that we're gonna really grow what that position means. She has a lot on her plate now, and we are planning to even add more. So don't tell her that yet. But anyhow, but the idea is that, you know, in the future, I think that the mayor's office I think that it's very important. I think the numbers is showing how much we have been adding into planting trees, you know, the funding that is, we're devoting to it. We're able to also secure more grants. And I think that Sarah is just like the beginning of that whole process that we're trying to start here. So the idea is that maybe in the future, we're gonna have a whole, maybe a forestry division within City Hall. But we need to take a step at a time. And that's why we hire Sarah. We're extremely happy with her. But now we believe that, and of course, I also want to thank you, Paul, for all his dedications, all these years with this committee. I know he takes very close to his heart, and he does a fantastic job. That's why we are where we are, thanks to all his effort. And we are not taking him out of it. I just want to make that clear. But now it will be really Sarah that will be more involved with preparing the agenda, call you guys. If there are things that you need to get her involved, she'll be your point person. And of course, Paul is still going to be supporting all of us. But the main contact for now on, it will be Sarah. So I just want to be here just so we can communicate. There's nothing wrong. It's quite the opposite. You know, we're lucky that now we have two people that will be engaged with that. But we believe that it makes more sense officially to make her as the staff to this committee already, as I said, planting the seeds for what the future will bring to what we see as maybe a forestry department. So thank you for listening to me. That's the reason why I'm here, and I want to welcome Sarah. And again, thanks, Paul, for everything that you have done.
Yeah, no, and Vanessa, we appreciate understanding that vision also, you know, and we're excited for things to go in that direction. I mean, trees have been sexy for a little while now, and they're starting to gain some momentum, and people are realizing the inherent value, if they don't from an environmental standpoint, they do from a property standpoint, you know, whatever angle you have to address, but definitely it makes all the sense in the world for us to kind of go in that direction. So thanks for having that bigger vision for sure.
Yeah, and this is very aligned with all everything that is under the umbrella of Public Works. You know, so that's why we have Rex and Parts, we have operations, we have engineering, of course, the BPC and building. But anyhow, the whole thing is that we are even now trying to align every single project that we're doing. It has also Sarah's input. You know, we're working in a lot of fronts to try to really bring the trees to the really as the front stage of all the things that we're doing. So thank you. And of course, I'll thank you all the members of this committee, because I know that you guys do a lot of work as well. And we need you guys to let us know where's the best place to plant those trees. So more people that we are able to recruit on each neighborhood, it will help our work and also the city. So I appreciate all the effort that you guys do as a volunteer. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, so we will move on to the update for our capital funding. Sarah, do you want to give that one a stab?
Really, yeah. So as of right now, should we say 204 as of our discussion? So we'll have 204 trees to be planted for the spring season. We still might be staking out a couple more locations. We did meet at the cemetery on Richards Avenue with Gay. She's still working on that relationship to potentially plant there. Then we do have just a couple other sites from tree requests and coming in from you guys. So spending wise, do you want to talk about the grants?
Basically, right now with the grants that we've got, we're we've spent almost all of the public works money that we had for ARPA. And as we previously mentioned, that hasn't changed. And with the last orders, we're gonna spend the rest of it. There's $245 left. And with the ECD ARPA funding that DPW and the Tree Advisory Committee has right now, after these orders, we're about $47,000 left in that. And then we still have 126 left in the Martin Luther King Corridor Initiative, which will be meeting with them tomorrow to talk about possible tree pit locations to see if they want to approve doing tree pits in some of the areas of South Norwalk that need it, or whether they want to continue with just planting the one-off locations, trees only. So that's going to be coming up. But with what we've got, we'll probably be around the 215, maybe 220 for the spring of 24.
Yeah, so with the MLK grant, we are going to propose the creation of new tree pits as part of that grant funding usage, because certain areas in South Norwalk, they're just barren of any canopy. And so we're kind of running out of spaces that really need the trees the most to plant in, kind of dwindling down to spaces that are already green or grass strips. So we'll be talking about that tomorrow. And we're hoping that folks are into that idea.
And then we got the money as of July 1st. We have the $100,000 worth that was approved in this year's capital budget for DPW, Tree Advisory Committee, tree planting. We have that available after July 1st, but that'll be planning for the fall.
And so Sarah, just to kind of bring us up to speed. Oh, okay, bring myself up to speed because we have landscape architects and other people on here. When you say a tree pit, I'm envisioning something like we have a sidewalk and we have a tree that's planted and there's like maybe some grating or something over it. Is that what we were calling a tree pit?
Correct. Any kind
Okay.
of impervious surface that can't just immediately be planted.
Yeah.
That would be creation of a new tree pit.
Okay. I just want to make sure I'm envisioning
Yeah.
what we're doing. And then when do we have to spend that money by, that 126 and change? Is there a date that's kind of clock ticking on that?
The 126, Jessica Bonachek said that there is no deadline on that one, like there is on the ARPA funding. So it's as we find them and get along and go to them. And one of the things that'll work out good is we'll work together from the engineering point to see if there's utilities underground there, to make sure with the other departments, TMP, to make sure that there's enough sidewalk space for an accessible walkway through there, at least a minimum of 4 feet, and then get a tree pit that would be enough size for a tree to grow to.
Mhm.
So what do we think the cost of a tree pit is in addition to the tree?
It's about 23, well, together with the tree, it's about $2,300.
So it's more than twice the cost of the tree typically.
We're averaging $1,000, but with what we've been planting, it's more like about $850 a tree.
So I guess I'm saying there's a priority in thinking about what the value of the tree pit is versus the quantity of trees we get in the ground. Because we can spend a great deal of money on infrastructure, but that's not necessarily what we see. I'm just being cautious here, where the city would be better in my mind to build streets in advance of tree planting that could support trees. So every time we do a capital project, it should accommodate a tree pit at the cost of the capital project and let the tree budget put in the tree.
Yeah, I'd say that is what we are doing for the most part, but this is kind of like not waiting for some kind of capital improvement project, being able to do it in places where there's enough space existing. But
And that
I
there is
think-
no project forecast to be there.
An
yeah,
example would be like South Main Street down by Woodward Avenue. There's an area there that really is just calling for trees, but there's no capital project in the near future. So if we didn't do it, we might not get trees there for 10, 15 years.
I think it's also a good idea to diversify how we can plant. So we wouldn't be using all of that remaining funding just for new tree pit creation, but at least to get, 20, 30 new spots that didn't exist before would be really great for the neighborhood.
Yeah, I'm just being cautious that capital projects don't use tree budgets to put stuff they should be putting under capital dollars. They
Agreed.
easily be flipped the other way, because we've seen trees used to supplement capital development projects like on East Avenue or East Norwalk, where they might have been, included as part of the overall capital budget. and not come from the tree advisory budget or the tree planting budget. So just cautious of how we use it because it sets priorities.
And as we go forward too, the more we get into the projects as we go, the trees and the tree planting, we'd like to see if it becomes part of that budget totally. So we can use the tree advisory committee, DPW planting budget to solely do other locations.
Yes.
So,
Right, I think that's, yeah, to Peter's point. Okay.
discuss and talk.
But that's exciting though, because it opens up the opportunity to get some canopy going in some areas where traditionally were overlooked.
But as Vanessa mentioned, one of the things we need is our goal this year is 600. So if we end up with 215, 220, we've got to try and come up with about 400 trees for the fall. So anybody that can find them, any locations, please let us know.
I just
Like,
want to add one thing that if you make tree pits and sidewalks, that the caliper size has to be increased because the branching structure on the 2.5 inches is too low, we found out.
Yeah, I think it would have to be species specific, yeah.
And
Okay,
then does the flexi pave, Paul, when you have to have 4 feet of sidewalk? Does the flexi pave constitute part of that 4 feet if you can walk over the tree pit or no?
It does, but
It
if,
is.
when we're looking for locations, we'd like to see if we could get at least a 4-foot walkway and a 2.5 to 3 foot tree pit. So your walkway would be even bigger, but it does count.
The new city standards require 7 feet sidewalk in some areas, so we can accommodate both.
okay. All right. So, in terms of the watering and maintenance schedule, Paul, for both Olmsted and Minutemen, obviously we don't need to see a detailed schedule. We just need to know if they're both doing what they're supposed to be doing according to their contracts.
Right now, Olmsted has said that they haven't done any watering yet because of the weather that we've been having. So they did fulfill their contract obligation and let me know. The same thing with Minutemen. They said they haven't done anything yet. And they've also gone around where we had the issues with the bags on the trees where some of the gel was getting out. They've removed all of them. So
Perfect.
yeah,
So,
fulfilling the contract.
okay, good. Okay, so the next thing on our agenda is that Earth Day Festival that I mentioned earlier. I was there, Deline was there, Paul was there, Sarah, Gay was there. Even Paul dropped, Peter, you dropped by, right, to make fun of us for a couple of minutes?
I did not make fun of you. I participated in the festivities.
And if I didn't mention someone who was there, I apologize, but it was just such a fantastic show of support, of people, of community. It was, I think, the largest of the 3, which makes sense. It's going to continue to grow every year. And does anybody have that final number of how many participants we think we had floating through?
We had about 1,000 people roughly.
1,000. I thought I saw something with more than that. Okay. The food trucks left a little bit to be desired. They clearly were not expecting the masses that they got, and a lot of people were running out of food really early on, and not communicating that well. But other than that, I think it was a fantastic success. Anybody, Sarah, anybody want to add anything to it since you guys were there personally as well?
Yeah, you got a couple requests, right?
Yeah, we had some.
Yeah.
We had about 50 people stop by and grab anything that was on the table. We had one woman who wanted to be a tree liaison. Unfortunately, she didn't respond back to me with emails and phone calls, and still harassing her a little bit about any kind of response. Bring that nicely, but nothing so far. But we did get 7 tree requests. I forwarded them to you. I wrote up a chart, 7 of them. So 7 trees maybe to add on to that list. which is good. But I think it went well. People seem happy about it.
Yeah, I got 2 or 3 requests over at the Parks and Rec table too, so we were in a nice little tree grouping.
Yeah, I
got-
like the way they arranged us so that, you know, we were all kind of next to each other and it made sense. And look, at the end of the day, that's 10 more trees that we wouldn't have had if we didn't have, you know, representation there. So I think, you know, all in all, it was really good. And for the city also, I think, you know, they were able to talk about the recycling program and get out some of those composting bins. So, you know, really successful overall. Did anyone else want to mention anything about the Earth Day?
I mean,
Okay.
I'll chime in here. The Tree Alliance was there as well, and it was just a fantastic event all around. So, I second,
you
and
guys had a
third, and
table,
fourth,
yeah.
all that. Yep. So it was great. Really good showing.
Awesome. All right. Arbor Day cleanup. Rich, what do you have to say?
We did it. We had good attendance. Paul somehow miraculously changed the weather for that day, so it didn't rain on us. Good job, Paul. They were calling for rain. We do it deliberately a couple of days prior to the real Arbor Day because it's not an event for the public. It's private tree care companies and the city. Mr. Pete stopped by, Jeff stopped by, Sarah was there, Paul was there. I'm sure I'm missing some people. But we made some locations for some new plantings that can go in over by the new section of the Norwalk River Trail off of Riverside Avenue. It looks like we're gonna go back there again next year and either continue a little further down. It's a great section because we're off the road, so we don't have to deal with traffic. We're away from the power lines, so it's safe. There's a ton of work to do there. There's a lot of vines. We could go back and do it all over again, that same section, and do more. But it
So-
worked out well.
So,
Be
so I
done there,
do,
yeah.
I do drive it twice a day, and it's seldom that I never see anybody on it. I mean, someone's always on that section,
Yeah, it gets used quite a bit.
used quite a bit, so it's high visibility.
Yeah.
We just want
Fully
follow-
worked out well.
volunteered their time and effort free of charge to the city. So it was a great event. And then Chris had our DPW tree truck come and do some work there also. So it was great. And as Rich said, there's a pile of work that can be done there in the future too.
Do we do anything with, and I believe this is her name, Michelle, who is in like public relations for
Yes.
the city? Because I think it's really important that all of those people who donate their time and their services and their equipment, that they get some kind of recognition. I mean, they're not doing it for that, but I think it's important for us to thank them a little more publicly and have them get kind of like that community kudos.
Yeah, they did put a post out on their socials, like some videos and some pictures with the mayor and with all the trucks, so. was nice.
Awesome. Good. I mean, I'm sure you'll agree because it's, you know, it's nice for them to be able to be acknowledged.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And
I
it
know.
also sets a precedence for other people to say, wow, I can do that too.
And I know last year the council, Greg Burnett, when he was the president, read the names of all of the tree companies at the following council meeting too. And I know they were talking about possibly doing that again this year.
Sounds good. And how did the Arbor Day at Silver Mine go?
Good. It was a great group up there. The principal up there, Principal Paradis, is very excited for the whole event. She was excited for the fact that it was being done in both languages at times too. There was an Arbor Day proclamation from the mayor that was given in both languages, Spanish and English. So we were able to hand out the 500 seedlings to the kids. They were excited about that. We planted 2 trees, a flowering dogwood and a sugar maple. So it went well, and it was a good time. And then Sarah also did some classes with the kids at the school in addition.
Yeah, I got to go around to every single class and every single grade. I just wrapped that up last week, and those kids love trees, man. A lot of them planted their trees and showed me how big they got, so.
Oh, that's super adorable. I love that.
Those are the future arborists. Look out.
Exactly. Very cool. Hey, look, if you can inspire someone at that age, why not?
Why not? Yeah.
Why not? So, Gay, anything other than the person you're potentially stalking from Earth Day?
Yeah, that didn't come out well. So a couple of trees will be going in on Rock Lane, thanks to Paul. Hopefully I have the approval tomorrow for the Jewish cemetery about getting 6 trees in, tulip trees. I have to have a meeting with them tomorrow morning. And then the rest that I gave to you, the other information, and I've been feeding you spots throughout Norwalk.
Yeah, Gay's been feeding us quite a few different
Doing
locations the
that.
last few weeks. a month.
Right, so we'll be doing that.
Yeah,
one.
no, I've seen the emails flying around. I mean, definitely a lot of legwork going on. And I mean, every time I drive to CT State Norwalk, I see all of those trees that were put along Richards Avenue that were the work of Gay, like what, like 8 years ago, 7 years ago?
So yes,
Yeah.
the state.
Right.
And the cemetery will be the last missing link.
Yes, so I mean, it looks really nice. I mean,
Yes, the Congregational Church is another.
The
the
tree.
Congregational Church, that's what I was thinking, because it's like it looks like a statement now. There's so many that have been put in over time. So really, really good job.
Do call out to Jeff, because we're gonna be adding 2 other crabapple trees. And she signed the approval on Sunday, and I sent it to you, so that's good. So that'll be the last around that circle, so that'll be good.
Perfect. And that's a great segue into you, Jeff. Do you have anything for us from the NTA?
Hello, everybody. Jeff Scher with the Norwalk Tree Alliance. Do I have anything updates? We're just planting away. It's been wild, but a good response, and a lot of these outreach events. We've been getting a lot of names and numbers and emails, and planting a lot of trees this spring. We will be doing our 3rd taxing district planting, I believe, come fall. So that'll be a good way to kick the fall planting season off. And then a couple of events that I just wanted, or one event in particular, June 15th, we will be having a bonsai class at Fodor Farm, if anyone was interested, led by one of our board members, Susan, and a esteemed bonsai master, that is one of her friends, Seiko. I could be pronouncing her name wrong there, but she's great. This will be the 3rd year we've done this, and it's a really fun event. If anybody feels they have a passion for bonsai to be unlocked, they can come join us June 15th, 9 a.m. to 11. I can send an email to you guys with the Eventbrite sign up, and anyone share it amongst your peers, friends, family, anybody. So
how does that work, Jeff? You go, you sign up and you get a little tree and then they show you how to trim it and maintain it.
Yeah, so it is a ticketed event. There are costs obviously with the tree, but we basically cover the costs. It's essentially covering the cost of the tree. There's a bonsai tray or planter, like a ceramic bonsai planter, a tree, and everybody, it's $125, I think, and you leave with a tree. It's a good sized tree, and you are provided with all the tools and instruments to make it your own bonsai, and then take it home and care for it. You learn all of that at the class, so
Awesome.
it's really cool.
Neat.
I don't know. It's a long-term process. I don't know.
Yeah, I will say,
Lifetime investment.
I am not a good bonsai master or a good bonsai, not even master student. But other trees I'm fine. Normal trees that we live with every day is fine. But yeah, I know that Susan has a collection of over 40 bonsai trees that are 30 plus years old. So it's pretty impressive, and to hear them speak about it is something that I didn't know I was interested in. So it was cool.
All right, cool. Thank you. Any other business?
I don't know, since my tree warden's in the room there, Silver Mine Avenue, Mr. Tree Warden, Burns Construction's been parking underneath that shagbark hickory every day that they do construction on those gas lines. So something like this, how do they pull a permit and not have to do tree protection on the streets? I mean, this is an ongoing problem. It just, I don't know, how do we do it? I mean, it's the only street you're there, they just want to park underneath it. The pressure's there. It's just, it's a small issue, but the city's been sort of trying to battle it for a while, and, you know, I do see it from time to time. And calling you guys and yelling doesn't really fix the problem. I don't know, any suggestions? What do they have to do to pull a permit, and what do we do to get something in there?
One of the things that they do here in engineering is they do issue the permits, and that's some of the stuff that we'll be working on more with Sarah, is the tree protection detail that we're gonna need to come up with that can become part of our standard details. And it's a matter of where it is, whether it would be a snow fence, or whether in some cases we would require it like a chain link fence to protect the tree. But that's something we need to add to our standard details, and we can do that. And then when the permit department issues it and there are trees in an area, they can require that they protect them accordingly.
Yeah, because right now it just says, tree protection according to the ANSI standards, which
Right,
I feel like we can spell that out more.
and there's nothing there, and they don't care.
And you're talking about the silver mine at Bartlett, right?
Yep.
That
Right by the park there, just up from the fire station. There's one really nice shagbark hickory, and damn if they don't put the trucks under it every night. But
well,
you know,
we have our guys out to put some fencing around it, we will.
well, the thing is, like, okay, so they've been out there now for like 3 or 4 months. So the question is, how do they get that far without being aware of it? You know, it may be in the permit, but I don't know, what else can we do other than yelling and screaming? It doesn't make any sense.
Now, if you see something like that, though, Peter, seriously, let us know, and then we can have the inspector say something. Because we're not out there every minute with them or all the time, so we may not see that it's going on.
I mean, I go out there, I talk to the drivers because they hit my Silver Mine sign constantly. Those signs, I've already replaced the one once on Bartlett for $1,200. Have it fixed because trucks hit it doing construction. But
Yeah, something like that too. If they're doing stuff like that, let us know, because if it's something that they're damaging, they do have insurance with the city.
right, and I have to catch them though. That's part of it. But the tree is where this tree advisory committee. So that's one issue that just see it. You know, how do we deal with it? It's ongoing.
You know, Peter, it's also education, because I'm positive that there was a police officer out there at every single day of every single construction, whenever they had someone. So it's a
Sure there
city effort. And maybe educating the people that are in our permit, not these guys, the building permit department and P&Z, because honestly, I don't think that those departments care about you.
No, but the policemen don't. You know, if they're aware of it, they'll help us force it. You know, because I talked to the traffic director. So I got my sign over here. Please make sure the guys don't hit it. I talked to the directors out there because it's expensive to fix. But the issue of tree awareness and tree protection just is still not really apparent to the construction trades or the policemen or the people on the street doing these things. There's plenty of room to do it away from the tree, but they still want to park under the tree.
The problem is to them, it's time and they don't want to do it. But like Chris said, it's education and us being able to make them do it. And eventually it'll become part of the habit. But to them, unless they're forced to do it, they're going to try and cut the corners.
That's enough whining for today, Pete.
No, that's okay. It's food for thought and definitely something to be continued. I move to adjourn.
Everybody have a nice Memorial Day weekend, I hope.
Oh,
We did. Jeff got some color there.
Oh,
Yep.
it rains on Memorial Day itself, but you know, a couple of days were good.
Jeff, it'll turn tan eventually.
I know. I got burned on Friday on my shoulders, and I still have my tank top on underneath those. So it'll fade eventually.
I haven't been outside much. I haven't got much tan on my head yet. Take it out more.
Keep the hat on.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.